What can a visit to a museum do for you? When I first attempted to write about my trip to the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, I was stumped. I struggled to put my feelings into meaningful words to capture the essence of what I experienced. Honestly, many times during the tour, I felt overwhelmed with a mixture of emotions, and of course, none of that was expected. It was just a museum, right? Well, yes and no. I was very intentional about how I wanted to spend my time in DC. So, intentionality played a key role in my experience. For almost 2 decades, God has been speaking the word SOAR to me. I got the idea to turn to the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum for inspiration. And I'll admit, at some moments during my visit, I got choked up. I fought back tears as pioneers in air and space stirred my creativity and shifted my perspective about what is possible. The question that kept ringing in my heart was, what made them believe they could fly? As I read about the various attempts the Wright brothers made to build a flying machine to transport humans and saw replicas of the various models that were built and failed, I thought, why did they keep going? Why did they risk their lives testing these crazy theories? It's one thing to dream an impossible dream, and it's a totally different experience to build your dream, knowing it might cost you everything you have. What if the dream you've been quietly carrying isn't impossible, just waiting for lift? In my holistic wellness coaching sessions, we don't just set goals, we clear the runway. We examine the thoughts that ground you, the fears that clip your wings, and the patterns that keep you circling the same airspace. Then together we strengthen your inner compass, mind, body, and spirit aligned. Taking flight isn't about striving harder, it's about becoming lighter, releasing self-doubt, reconnecting with purpose, learning to trust the currents God has already placed within you. This is your invitation to soar. Not someday, not when everything is perfect, but now. If you're ready to dream boldly, rise intentionally, and step into the life that once felt impossible, let's begin your ascent by scanning the QR code on the screen. Your wings are stronger than you think. So what can a museum visit do for you? Think about it. Each of us has an impossible dream inside of us, and working on that dream moves us towards taking flight and eventually soaring. Visiting a museum creates a sensory experience that is often slower, quieter, and more intentional than everyday life. The soft lighting, open galleries, and contemplative pacing naturally encourages mindfulness. Unlike digital environments that demand constant response, museums invite you to pause, observe, and reflect. Museums make learning immersive rather than abstract. Instead of reading about ancient civilizations, you can see the artifacts. Instead of imagining scientific breakthroughs, you interact with models and exhibits that bring them to life. This type of informal learning encourages curiosity-driven exploration, makes complex subjects accessible, reinforces memory through visual and spatial engagement, and bridges academic knowledge with lived experiences. Standing in front of a powerful painting, innovative design installation, or scientific breakthrough often sparks creative thinking. Museums expose you to ideas that stretch beyond your usual environment. This exposure encourages new problem-solving approaches, broadens aesthetic sensibility, inspires creative risk-taking, and strengthens imagination. Museums require active engagement. You interpret, compare, analyze, and synthesize information as you move through exhibits. This mental stimulation supports cognitive vitality. Regular museum engagement may strengthen memory retention, improve attention span, enhance critical thinking skills, and support neuroplasticity. That is, the brain's ability to form new connections. Museums are more than buildings. They are cultural gathering spaces. Whether attending a lecture, walking through an exhibit with friends, or joining a guided tour, shared exploration naturally sparks conversation. They foster intergenerational dialogue, cross-cultural understanding, community engagement, and shared meaning making. Unlike purely entertainment-based outings, museum visits often lead to deeper conversations about history, identity, beauty, ethics, and humanity. Museums transport you across time, geography, and world view. When you engage with artifacts from ancient civilizations or contemporary art addressing modern social issues, you step outside your personal narrative. This can cultivate empathy, challenge assumptions, expand cultural literacy, and encourage intellectual humility. Museums curate rare objects and exhibitions you may never encounter again. Traveling exhibits, limited time collections, and access to preserve historical artifacts create moments that are singular and memorable. These experiences provide once-in-a-lifetime encounters, deepen appreciation for preservation and heritage, connect you to global stories, and create meaningful memories tied to place and time. Now that you know what museums can do for you, consider getting a membership with your local museum. I also want to give honor to Swizz Beatz and Alicia for Giants, art from the Dean Collection. I viewed the art exhibition at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts in Richmond last year, and it was thrilling, a thrilling adventure for my senses. The collection moved to the Museum of Contemporary Art, San Diego, and is on display now until August 9th, 2026. Let's turn our attention back to the Wright brothers, who faced a gauntlet of technical, financial, and social obstacles before realizing their dream. Their success was less a single eureka moment and more a multi-year grind against scientific and technical hurdles, physical and environmental risk, and social and professional obstacles. I felt like the museum did a good job of walking visitors through their process. And then I realized taking flight in your own life is a process. Wilbur and Orville kept grinding along because they were married to the process, whereas most of us today are married to a quick outcome because we can't endure a lengthy process. What I learned from my museum visits is that we all have dreams inside of us, and in some way, these dreams fit together, advancing our lives, the well-being of our families, communities, and God's kingdom on earth. Advancements in air and space travel from the early 1900s to today are amazing, and were not born by one dreamer. Many pioneers in the U.S. and abroad contributed to helping humans soar above the clouds into space. What are you doing with that impossible dream inside of you? What do you think it will take for you to take flight and soar? Don't let that dream die without giving it your all. to make it come true. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Danielle Inspires. And remember, visiting a museum is not just an educational outing. It is a holistic experience that supports mental health, intellectual vitality, creativity, connection, and personal growth. It nourishes both the inner life and the communal life. Until next time, be bold, be great, and be inspired. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me to watch another episode of Danielle Inspires. If you have not done so already, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the alert button to be aware of new content as soon as it is released, and share this video with those you love. See you next time.